Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Whether you're listening during your commute, while working out, or just relaxing at home, we appreciate you. Every download, every listen, and every subscription means a lot. Up next, the 12 Kyle podcast.
Be creative, tell your story. No matter how many times that story has been told, no one has told it the way you can because you have your own perspective, right? Lean into your authenticity and don't sell it. Don't sell your authenticity because a lot of people in Hollywood want to buy your authenticity. Hey, that's a heck of a project. Let me bring it over here. We can help you produce that. And then you start producing it and you're like looking at it like, this ain't my story no more.
Welcome to another edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. I want to thank you all for tuning in as you do each and every week. Check this out. We have a special guest on this episode. You see the title. What I wanted to do today on this episode was something a little different as far as interviewing. What I like to do is bring people on who haven't had the opportunity to, grace the platform or what have you, but also give a chance to tell their side of the story. And particularly when you have someone who's up and coming, if you will, and I can't even really say he's up and coming. I heard this young man speak on the homie Baylor's podcast just a couple of days ago at the time of this recording. And I reached out to Baylor and I said, give me his information because I want him to come on the podcast and tell his story. He is pitching, well, not just pitching his film, but a host of other things. My man Jason Taylor is in the building. Jason, what's up, man?
What's the deal? What's going on, y'all? I'm excited to be here. This is new territory for me because every time I come out with a project, I don't really get this much attention. Just I've gotten a lot of attention, but this is a whole different ball game. So I'm excited to be here.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Well, listen, you come to the right place for attention.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
So yeah, your story was very compelling. And we'll get into the film and everything. But I guess before we even get started into film, let's go back. Where you from? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you actually got into film, because I know that's not something that people necessarily stumble into.
Yeah. Well, my full name is Jason Keith Taylor. I've started to embrace it a little bit more because if you will literally Google that, I am the only one that comes up.
Okay.
That's the easiest way for me to tell you that. But on top of that, I born and raised in Los Angeles, was living in Koreatown, Los Angeles. So shout out to Koreatown because a lot of people don't know that Black people come from Koreatown.
Me either. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Koreatown is an amazing place. It allowed me to really, really grow into who I am. Going to the local park, playing basketball, being in the team club at Ardmore. That's where me and Baylor met. Just kind of playing basketball. But I've been doing this since 2012, like heavily since 2012. It'll be 14 years this year. Actually, at the end of this month, it'll be 14 years. I started off as an intern at BET Networks. Learned a whole lot. I mean, the plethora of information from learning from production to pre-production to development to original programming to casting to post-production to the long list, legal, all that stuff. I learned a whole lot. I was blessed to have been working with some amazing people. One of them is I consider like the casting legend in Robbie Reed.
Yes.
She is 100% a legend in this game. And I am in the same offices with her and I am able to see her when she walks by. And I was even able to sit in on a casting session that she had. And my God, the efficiency. And it made me truly think about things differently because that person that came into audition prepared for however long they prepared for. It could have been days, it could have been weeks, it could have been months, it could have been hours. That person prepared for a long time just to come into this session and be there for 2-3 minutes. And it was eye-opener for me because it's like sometimes when you know what you want, you don't have to delay stuff so long. So, working there actually helped me out because it actually gave birth to what it is that I'm doing now, you know? I remember an executive at BET at the time, she was like, don't get trapped in this circle that is television, right? You know, at first I mean I kind of understood that, but you know, as she was talking about it, it's because it's with a regular day job, right? You are
Right.
confined to those hours. You don't really have much time outside of that to do anything creative. So she didn't want me to get trapped. So, you know, at that point, it wasn't my decision to, but I felt like the best thing for me to do was to kind of like take a step back, learn how to do my thing. I learned a whole lot from everybody that was there at the time. And it, you know, snowballed into me, you know, creating my own production company. It started into me creating my own projects. And the first project I ever came out with was this project called Fight the Force, which was a documentary film about a 25-year gap of women's history. And we
Okay.
were talking about the positive things that women have done because, you know, as a child of a single mother, a lot of women do not get a lot of recognition. They always get criticized more than they get praised and honored. So I wanted to, you know, do something that helped honor my mom and
Mhm.
people like her. So that film, Fight the Force, was my way of kind of shining a light on the positive things women have done. You know, it's like you see the reality shows, you see the Instagram
Right.
feeds, and you see half naked women everywhere, and it's like, yeah, that's what people see mostly. But then you think about the dream team, the '96 team. You know, you look at Queen Latifah, uh you look at Hillary Clinton being one of the first women to be nominated for Democrat, like I mean for presidency. Like you look at all these things that women have done, and it's like, yo, why isn't this talked about more?
Right.
You know? So I wanted to come up with something like that. So that was my goal. And it led me to where we are now, where I have a new film called That's Life.
No doubt. And we're going to talk about that too as well, because I'm very intrigued about the concept behind it as well as the name. You mentioned BET, and Robbie Reed is a super force in the industry. If I'm not mistaken, didn't she collectively put TLC together? I could be wrong.
Maybe,
I think she did.
maybe,
Um,
maybe that may be some homework for me to look into.
I think she did it. If not, I got to. But she is. I know she is a major force
Oh
in that
yeah.
industry. But even mentioning BET, how did you go about get? Because BET is not a job that you can just walk into. I mean, we remember the headquarters in DC.
Man,
I remember distinctly getting BET for the first time in like 1983 on cable. And even the programming then was only like for maybe a block of 6 hours. You didn't have
mhm.
BET on for a long period of time. How did you make your way to BET?
That's a very, very funny story because at the time, Twitter had just popped off a year before.
Okay.
And I didn't know what the heck I was doing with Twitter. I was like, what is this? I'm from the MySpace Black Planet era, right?
Gotcha.
It's like that was social media for us. For my generation, that's what it was. MySpace, then Black Planet, then eventually Facebook came out, right? So I'm looking at Twitter, it's like 100 and something characters or whatever. I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm like, I don't even know what this is. So I got it because it was everybody talking about it. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I let it sit for a year. And then something just said, go back on it. So I'm like, let me go back on it. And I go back on it and I see an ad on Twitter for internships at BET. So I said, man, I don't know. Let me just do it. So I applied, right? I got the interview. I was able to go into what they call the fishbowl, which is literally in the area where they have a table, they have some chairs, and it's all windows. It's all glass.
Wow.
You can see it in the all the way around like a fishbowl, right?
Mhm.
And I ended up getting the internship, and I started in June of 2010, actually. So scratch that. This is, you know, it'll be 16 years
Wow.
this year because I got that internship in 2010. Um, yeah, and I was there from 2010 to 2014.
Mm.
I was there the first 2 years of the BET experience.
Okay.
Um, I remember, if you remember when Chris Brown gave that tribute to Michael Jackson,
I do.
and then he ran off stage, me and my legal representative were running after him because we needed him to sign the release so we could put it on TV.
Funny.
So it was like and I think one of my favorite stories, and this is going to be forever going to be a favorite story, but 2010 BET Awards, we're in LA at the Shrine. Queen Latifah, I believe, is hosting it,
Mhm.
and my favorite actress of all time is Taraji P Henson,
Okay.
and my friends knew that. So the entire time I am at the BET Awards, my friends are trying to help me find Taraji. I'm like, all right. I was in the green room. Then I'm like, someone's like, hey, can you help me with? I went out and somebody called me, hey, she's in the green room. What? I run over there. She's gone. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. So I kid you not, fast forward to the whole night, could not find her.
Mhm.
I'm sitting there like, man, I wish I would able to find her. My friends are about to take me back to the house. And I'm like, all right, I'm just whatever. And then my friend was like, hey, come here real quick. I was like, okay. And then she walked me in there and Taraji is standing right there waiting for me. And I'm just like, couldn't speak, couldn't say anything. Mouth was just wide open. I'm just like,
Right.
and she was, oh my gosh, she is one of the sweetest souls I've ever met.
Mm.
And I will always remember this because I couldn't find her the whole night.
Mm.
Right when I'm about to leave, I find her. And then we're leaving the parking lot. We're leaving the event, right? And she is like 2 feet in front of me, and Queen Latifah was like 5 feet in front of me. I'm just
Mhm.
like, what world is this? I'm like, I couldn't find her, and now she's just it was just an amazing experience for me. But BET was a place that I really honed my craft because I learned a lot of television. I learned a lot of what it took. I sat in on pitch meetings. I've
Mm.
sat in on meetings with executives. I watched cuts of different shows before it came out. I saw what could have been at BET that ended up in other places.
Okay.
I was able to experience a lot, and I was there for 4 years, and I had all of them, including my partner in crime, Nisha, who actually is in Atlanta, who
Okay.
actually works with Tyler Perry right now,
Okay.
and she nicknamed me Baby Spike Lee. So
That is a hell of a name to uphold.
it is. It definitely is. But it was because of how I presented myself and who I was, and I definitely appreciate that partnership, that friendship, because that's my sister for life. So, shout out to Nisha Lee. She's incredible.
Shout out, shout out. What that's an incredible story, man. What even in doing all of that, what made you say, you know what, I'm starting here, but I'm going to deviate to film? Because as I mentioned at the top, film isn't something that you just wake up one day and just decide to do it. Kind of for most people, or at least the way it seems is what it's usually
Mhm.
told, is that it's something that happens over a period of time. What led you to film?
Photography actually led me to film.
Gotcha.
I started taking photos, and it was my way of learning the camera because coming from BT, they taught me how to use the camera. So the biggest thing they were talking about was composition. They mentioned to me is like, if it looks good and it sounds good, it will be good, right? And I'm like, all right, let me focus and build on the composition of everything. So I started taking pictures. It was flowers, it was people, it was locations, it was landmarks, right? Then I started to do more and more and more, and it led me to um, ironically, this will let me to Fight the Force. I was started off as a photo concept, a photo series idea. The
Mhm.
idea was I was going to have a woman in the middle of Los Angeles wearing a crown, wearing all white. And I was going to take a picture of her because in the middle of that chaos, you find this beauty, right?
Right.
So that was the idea. And it ended up becoming a film, a documentary film. And then after that, ironically, I did another series called the 80/20 series based off the 80/20 rule that Tyler Perry talked about in Why Did I Get Married?
Mhm.
And then I took that concept of the 80/20 series and I turned it into what is my first TV show concept, The Rule. And it was crazy because that that came from the photo series, but photography is what got me started in all of it. It got me started to learn how to shoot, where to frame everything, how to adjust the lighting, how to adjust the ISO, how to adjust the aperture, all that stuff. And then it taught me how to like move in that direction. And I'm like, yo, this is what I want to do. I kid you not. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it was the freedom of being able to just be creative
Mhm.
and not having to worry about how things were going to happen, but
Right.
just be like, yo, you can be as creative as you want to be and not worry about everything else. Just be creative. And that's all I wanted to do was just be creative. And that's what it led to.
Okay. Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier about just kind of learning everything. How important was it for you to learn aspects like post production and, like you said, photography, getting that foundation, if you will, for what was to come?
It was crucial and it was beneficial,
Okay.
but I didn't really learn a lot of that stuff until after,
Mm.
because in the middle of it, I'm learning, I'm listening, I'm hearing, I'm watching, but I'm not doing.
Right.
The moment I stopped listening and watching and I started doing, that's when I really learned a lot of it. That's when I learned the business. That's when I learned the cast. That's when I learned the production aspect and what all goes into production, the above the line, the below the line. How do you secure a camera? How do you like, that's when I really learned a lot of it. A lot of what I learned while I was at BET was just information,
Okay.
the foundational aspects of different departments, right? At that time, I didn't know there was that many departments and they're all in one office,
Mhm.
right? And it's like I think one of the one person that really showed me a lot was, ironically, Lemuel Plummer.
Okay.
He's the one that runs Zeus Network.
Gotcha.
He had a production company inside BET at the time that I was there, and him and his brothers were really, really working on a few things. And I learned a lot from watching them. And I was like, yo, this is amazing. This is something I definitely would like to do. So again, a lot of it I learned, but I didn't necessarily utilize and apply until I had to. So, you know, that was a big thing for me.
Okay. And in that application, when you find yourself creating something like Fight the Force, um,
Mhm.
where what would you say that you learned the most in that process with Fight the Force? What was the thing, if you had to point one or two things that, you say, okay, well, these are the things that I'm going to take with me to the next project. What were some of the biggest things that you learned in that process of creating and going through Fight the Force?
I can do whatever I want. That was the biggest thing I learned. I can literally do whatever I want. And in a sense of like, how creative do I want to be? What story do I want to tell? What characters or what people do I want to highlight? It was the freedom of being able to just say, this is an idea and I'm going to create this idea and I'm going to turn this idea into a physical product.
Mhm.
And even in the documentary, like when you see the documentary, there's elements of that where I was on a radio show. I was touring high schools. I was interviewing people. We had this thing on the movie where I created this board. It was called the negative reality board.
Mm.
And that was basically, I asked women, I said, I went to every woman I could possibly go to. And I went to so many different places. I asked every woman, I said, I want you to write down a word that you're called on a daily basis that you don't like.
Wow.
And the amount of things that women are called on a daily basis is insane. Cause you were like, why would you even, how'd you come up with this?
Right.
How would you and it's like you look at that and you realize that that is a lot of women's reality. They
Mm.
get called every single thing in the book, from pancake booty to slut to homewrecker to too dark, too skinny. Like it's the amount of things that they get called is absolutely crazy. So
Mhm.
that was a big thing for me to do that, but I realized that it took me to just tell myself this is what I want to do, to give birth to that and be like, that's a heck of an idea. I can guarantee you could talk to any woman you want, and I guarantee you they'll give you about 10 names that they were called yesterday that they
Mm,
didn't like.
wow.
Yeah.
I may have to do that. I'm not sure
Yeah.
I'm ready for the answers, but I may have to do that for real.
I wasn't
Um,
ready, but yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Um,
Mhm.
so I guess the next question I would have is like, I'm. It goes without saying that it takes a lot to produce something in Hollywood because Hollywood is its own other entity. It moves at its own pace.
Mhm.
And a lot of times stuff gets funded and makes it to the big screen. We'll talk about your funding here in just a second, but stuff
Mhm.
makes it to the big screen and you're like, who greenlit that? Like, this is terrible.
I can give you 10 movies off the top of my head that I'm like, "What how did this happen?"
I know you can.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so how do you handle no? Because I'm pretty sure you probably in your processes of pitching, you're probably I'm just making an assumption here. I would assume that you probably hear more no's than you hear yeses. How do you handle that, particularly in Hollywood?
The funny thing is when I first started hearing the no's, I didn't know how to respond to it because 'cause I'm like,
Okay.
"What do you mean no?" I'm like, "How do you mean no? Like, you don't like this? What?" And then I realized it's not that they didn't like it. It's that and I'm a big believer in timing,
Okay.
and I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. I feel like and personally, I feel like if I got the yes when I was looking for it, I would have fizzled out
Mm,
because I didn't have any like a lot of people, a lot of creatives, they want to hear yes.
right.
They want to hear, let's put your story out, you're being greenlit. They want to hear that. But but you got to ask yourself, are you able to sustain that after you get the yes?
Hmm.
I was not able to.
Okay.
So that made me feel like the timing was necessary, but it allowed me to go the route I went to because I learned a whole lot from a whole lot of people that I would have never met if I got the yes then,
Mm,
right? So all the no's that came, that's fine. After a while, I realized it wasn't a no to me. It was basically saying God was letting me know, like, no, it's not for you yet. Don't
right.
worry.
Not yet.
No,
Right.
not for you. Not for you. Not yet. Not yet. And it's like, okay. After a while, I realized it's all right, right? Even down to like even now. I'm I'm grateful that I'm able to do things on my own.
Hmm.
Yes, would I love to have Hollywood's backing? Sure. But I'm not chasing them.
Okay.
I'm not chasing them because would I be able to sustain Hollywood's standard? I don't know. I
Okay.
won't know until I get there. I know I can sustain the standard that I have now of being an indie filmmaker. I can
Hmm.
sustain it all day long because I know what I'm doing. And somebody's not going to tell me, well, we're not going to put that out. I can say, I want to put this out, and that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And I love that freedom, right? So that's how I dealt with the no's because I realized that every no led me to become more free.
Is there any level of frustration
Always.
to the point where it's like where you sit there and think, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe y'all can't see the vision."
Yeah, there
Okay.
is because
Okay.
because you like for me, I was looking at me and my wife were actually listening because I like to read scripts through Acrobat Reader, so it reads it to me because
Okay.
sometimes I'll just be out. We were reading a pilot for a TV show that I created, and I'm like, yo, this is incredible. I'm like, yo, nobody would turn this down, right?
Mhm.
But then you look at stuff and then you see shows like Nemesis. You see
Mm.
shows like Power. You see shows like Raising Kanan. And you see these shows, right? And in your mind, you're like, it's going to remind everybody of that.
Mhm.
So maybe this isn't the right time for this. That's when I started to realize I don't need to be frustrated that someone doesn't see it. It's not that
Right.
they don't see it. They're probably seen a lot of it already.
Yeah.
Because think about it like this. I talk about BET and I said it on pitch meetings. How many pitches do you think studios and production companies get on a daily basis? They probably have
Thousands.
been pitched the same show
Mhm.
60 times in 3 days.
Right.
It's not that they don't want your show. They just don't want to hear anything else about a show that's similar to the 20,000 other pitches they just had.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize it's really just about timing, and it's about someone willing to push for you. Like the way that Denzel pushed for Chadwick,
Yes.
like the way that John Singleton pushed for Regina King and for Ryan Coogler, and then the way that Forrest Whitaker pushed for Michael B. Jordan. Like it's that element of someone being able to say, "Yo, I'm gonna help you get to where you want to get to because I know how to get there."
Mm.
And that's what a lot of people are trying to do when we network, when we meet people, right? When
Mhm.
we are fans of people. I met Spike in 2018, I believe,
Okay.
and he was doing a book signing for his latest memoirs. And I went there, I took my Funko Pop, which I have right here, super happy about that.
Okay.
I took She's Gotta Have It, the
Mm.
DVD. I
Wow.
took Do the Right Thing.
That's my
I
joint.
took a book that I got from my mentor who happened to be his mentee. I took all that to him when I met him, and I'm like, yo, and I'm talking to him and stuff like that. And then I said, you gonna remember me? And he's like, what's your name? And I told him my full name. I was like, I'm Jason Key Taylor. He's like, all right, I'm gonna remember you. And it's like, those types of things is what people are looking for, right? But it's a certain level of understanding that you can still do what you are going to do, and then they will come after.
Mhm.
So as much as, we want the attention from Hollywood, as much as we want the recognition and the and the attachments and the
Right.
deals, if you do your job and you create enough art, it'll come. It'll come. I mean, look at the way Ryan started. He had his film he had his short film was The Locks. That was incredible.
Yep.
Then he came to Fruitvale Station.
Fruitville. Yep.
Then he did Creed. Then he did Black Panther 1 and 2, and now he did Sinners. Like, it was a step up every single time,
Mhm.
but he was humble enough to say, "Yo, I just love what I do." Eventually, people took notice, and that's the direction I'm in.
Yes, indeed, man. I think that you touched on a couple of key points. Even mentioning John Singleton, I had a chance earlier this year to interview Thomas Golianopoulos, who wrote the book "Life of Singleton," from Boys in the Hood to Snowfall. And one of the things that he, talked about on the episode was, John's conviction of Boys in the Hood, which is one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies of all time.
Mhm.
And the problem he was having was he had this story, he was at USC Film School and he was doing all these things and he was trying to pitch it. And because the story had never been told, and he was like, you can't, he didn't want Hollywood to touch it because it was South Central. And
Mhm.
if you're,
Mhm.
all too well, being from that part of the country where that's a very unique story in and of itself. You can't glamorize it. You can't put makeup on it. It's just, it
No.
is what it is. And
Yeah.
so one of the things that impressed me about, what Thomas wrote in the book and, was John's conviction and his passion behind that particular project. And it
Yeah.
changed everything and everything for the trajectory of him as far as his career was.
Mhm.
Do you see yourself having that same type of conviction in any and everything that you do pushing forward because you're very much, have confidence in what you've created?
I do. And the funny enough, I tell my team every time that I get on set, I feel like it's every project I work on is like my boys in the hood. That's what I say. Because think about all the star power that is in that film and look at all
Mm,
the stuff that they've done. But it started off with them just kind of coming together and creating something powerful enough for them to have a foundation to stand on to build their careers, right? And that's what it's like for me. Like, funny enough, my friend nicknamed me Baby Spike Lee. I nicknamed myself Spike Singleton.
I like that.
And I did that because I wanted to pay homage to two people who truly helped build me as a storyteller, right?
Mhm.
They both told stories unapologetically. They didn't care
Yes.
how you felt. This is their story. And if you don't like it, oh well, there's about 25 other people that do. That's how I like to storytell. Like I love to build characters. I love to build morality battles. Like a lot of my characters in my films have this moral battle every
Mhm.
single time that they're in these films. And I love it because it shows you the rawness of a person and the decisions that they have to make to get them to where they need to get to.
Yes.
And it's been like that for me in my life. Decisions I've made led me to where I'm at right now. I've had a lot of moral battles in my life, you know, just to kind of get to where I'm at. So to be able to do what I do in the way that they founded and started, my favorite film of all time is Do the Right Thing.
Hey, you and I,
All time.
man,
All
same
time.
here, same here.
All
Favorite,
time.
to the point where if it's on network TV, no matter what I'm doing, I will stop and watch it and sit as if I've never seen it before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have 3 copies of Do the Right Thing.
Wow. I actually have an episode that I haven't recorded yet, but it's called I think I titled it Bugging Out Had a Point. And I'll just talk,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just going to talk about that scene where Bugging Out is looking up at the wall, and ain't no brothers on the wall, and he makes
Yep.
a valid point. Like we spend all kind of money up in here, and ain't no brothers on the wall. So I'm really looking forward to creating that episode. But again, one of my favorite movies of all time, probably is that and Coming to America is probably 1 and 2, and then
Oh
maybe
yeah.
Boys in the Hood at 3.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, so as you can tell, I'm a fan of film and filmmakers. Spike
Mm-hmm.
Lee and John Singleton are 2 of my favorites. And I'm looking forward to putting Jason Keith Taylor up at number
Hey, that's what I'm
up at
talking
number
about.
3.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the new project, That's Life.
Yes.
As I mentioned at the top, I heard you talk with Baylor about it. Give me, and of course heard the episode and heard your bio, but your personal story as to how this came about and what
Yeah.
the film is about.
Yeah. It's a very personal story because it is centered around my relationship with my grandfather. Next month in July, it'll be 10 years since he's passed.
Mm.
And when he got diagnosed with cancer, and he was in the hospital, I didn't really get to go see him because I didn't want to see him that way. It was
Right.
hard for me to see him that way. And then by the time I got the energy and the courage to go see him, my mom got the call very early in the morning. And the one thing I truly remember was I was in the fetal position on top of 3 chairs that were against the wall. And I had cried so much
Mm.
that day that every day since I felt like I haven't cried enough because I cried so much that day.
Wow.
And my grandfather still is my best friend. I mean, if you ask my dad and my aunties, it's different. They all have their relationship with my grandfather, but I
Right.
have my relationship with my grandfather. My grandfather was my best friend. He would literally, like in the film, in my life, there are a lot of parallels. And it all revolved around me asking myself if he would be proud of me today. And I didn't necessarily know how to answer that question. In my
Mm.
mind, in my heart, I know he will be,
Of course.
but I felt like I just needed to hear him tell me one more time, right? So I decided to give myself some emotional closure by writing this story called That's Life, where this motivational speaker is getting ready for a book tour. He's doing a commercial. And while he's there, he gets the same tragic news I got.
Mm.
He's dealing with a lot. Has been away from family for a long time. And it's very similar to like if anybody has ever watched Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins,
Okay.
it's the same idea from that, where you have someone who hasn't been around family for so long and decided to go out and doing his own thing and he created his own life. And then he has to face family again. So that was similar to what Joseph Henderson, the character in the movie, had to do
Mhm.
too. And it's a very, like I said, it's a very personal story, but it's my way of being able to have that last conversation with my grandfather in a way that I should have had when he was still here.
Mm.
and it was very, very difficult to write that part because there was a lot of pain that I had to deal with. There was a lot of memories that I had to remember and a lot of feelings that it was hard for me to do that, but I'm glad I did it, and we are here at this point now.
Understood. Understood. Now you said it was difficult to write. Was it difficult to shoot, or was it easy to shoot?
It was a mix of both.
Okay.
I remember having a conversation with my friend, and I was asking her, like, how am I going to be able to direct this film without my emotions getting involved? And she said, as long as you have your shot list, you'll be fine. So I'm like, okay. So I had my shot list, and there was one scene that, and everybody will talk about too, but there was one scene that we filmed, and it was so emotional that after we cut, there was like silence on set for like 15 seconds
Wow.
because it was so heavy. And for me, it felt heavy for me because it's like it reminded me of when I got the news, and I'm just like, "Ooh, ooh," like, my God. And it was difficult for me to direct as well, but it felt good to know even after I got clips, like, to be able to see it and then to feel it again was an amazing process.
How long did it take you to bring everything, I guess, from script to shooting this film?
I started writing it last year, March.
Okay.
And funny enough, I wrote it 2 weeks before my my maternal grandmother passed away.
Mm,
And in writing that film to help me be there for her in a way out that I wasn't for my grandfather.
gotcha.
Um, and I didn't realize that I would need that story so early,
Hmm.
but I did. And I'm grateful. She would have been 87
Wow.
right now.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and just even going down to like my niece graduating high school and going to prom and knowing that my grandmother was not here to see it, you know, um, was a big deal. But I think that what I cherish most about that is that my grandmother was at my wedding
Wow.
and she was there with me, and we still have that picture that I will always cherish. But yeah, it's been a year. I
Mm,
started writing it in March, and fast forward all the way till end of the year, I finally got in touch with a producer who happened to be someone on my writing team. And shout out to Monique, who is my producer, my executive producer. And she, man, it was a flawless experience working with her to
mm,
bring this story to life because she allowed me to focus on the creative aspect and she focused on the business aspect.
hmm.
And me, I'm very detail oriented. I'm task driven. So a lot of the stuff that I gave her, she didn't have to do, so it made her job easier. We worked really, really well because of that. So, um, yeah, a little bit over a year, and we even shot the entire film in one day.
Really?
Hmm.
How did you manage to do that?
We started at 7 in the morning, and we went all the way till 9 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, on
That is
top of the fact that
amazing.
we built the set too, and
Yeah,
that
I
was the
heard you talk
first
about that
time
on
that
Baylor's episode. So
we we
talk a little
built
bit
the
about
set.
that. How did you build a set like that and had it ready for an entire day?
My wife is one incredible art director
That's
and
what's
set
up.
designer. She literally grabbed a team of like 6 different PAs and they painted walls. They grabbed the let me see what else they grabbed. The paint, the walls, the couch, the rolling rack, the paintings, the artwork,
Hmm.
it I gave her 3 hours to get it done, and she did it in those 3 hours. They built
Wow.
they painted the walls, they put a door on the wall, they drilled it all together, they clamped it together. If you would have seen it, you would have thought they were inside of an actual room, but it was that detailed oriented. And yeah, it was they did an amazing job. Shout out to my PAs and my wife for that, because man, it was the first time we've ever done that. And we had
Shout
the
out.
luxury of doing
Wow.
that, so it was super great. Wonderful experience.
one of the things that drew me to outside of, in listening to the episode with you and Baylor was just the story of, like you said, your grandfather, because it made me reflect, because I mentioned this on several podcasts. In fact, I did an episode talking about my maternal and paternal grandfather, both of them whom I didn't really know at all. So I'm always intrigued by people who are shaped by their grandparents. I had some experiences with my grandmothers, but my grandfathers, my maternal grandfather passed away when I was 1. My paternal grandfather, he passed away when I was in college, but because he and my dad didn't have a good relationship, when he passed away, and I'd only talked to him on the phone like maybe twice. It was interesting because it was like my dad was like, "Oh yeah, your grandfather died," and I was like, "Oh okay," and I was like, "You good?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm good." Like, all right, let's go get something to eat. I was like, it was almost like if you'd been like, "Man, you remember Terry from 125? Yeah, he got shot today." Then like you just
Yeah.
keep going on to something else. So
Mhm.
when you talk, I heard you mention, and I know you mentioned in your bio that your parents are divorced, and you said that your grandfather was your best friend. How old was he when he passed away?
82,
Okay, and
83,
how old were you at the
82,
time when he passed away?
30. I was about to be
Oh, wow.
31.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be 41 this year.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That
Yeah.
speaks to a great relationship that you guys had.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
not too many, people are well, I'm a little bit older than you, but not many people say that like their best friend is their grandfather or grandparents for that matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I'm like, my family is everything to me.
Mhm.
And even now, I consider the last living grandparent I have, my grandmother, she's 97.
Wow. That's a
She is
blessing.
my best friend as well, right?
That's a blessing.
Um, it's like I love my family. All my cousins, my aunties, my uncles, my brothers, my sister, like I love my entire family, and everybody in my family I consider like friends, right?
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, we grew up together,
Of
just
course,
like
of course.
any other, right? But I love my grandfather because there was something he did that I truly, really, really, really enjoyed. I remember one day I was at a house, and he had asked me, I think I was using a tablet, or he had brought a tablet to me, and then he was like, "You like it?" I was like, "Yeah, it's cool." He's like, "All right, it's yours." I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, it's yours." I was like, "What? I ain't had no money to buy no tablet." And here he's like, "Hey, here's," and that's what he did, right? I love that because like the one thing that I didn't mention, and I almost mentioned it in the film, but my grandfather actually worked on the Apollo 11 rocket.
Wow.
He was he was doing the communication. He was working on the communication between the rocket and the space station. And man, that man knew computers. He could speak computer like most people speak English and breathe.
That is amazing.
So yeah.
That is truly amazing. One of the things that I came away impressed upon, amongst other things, from your interview with Baylor was, you speaking very highly of your team, and they're very highlighted very well on your profile on your website. Talk a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about your team, man, because it
Oh man.
even though your name is on the headline, it sounds like you have an incredible team that helped put all of these things together.
I have one of the best teams ever. Only because it took me a while to secure them.
Hmm.
And it was a situation where I was really looking for people to really connect with and network with. And I found some people that really, really helped me grow, right? And my team has been with me since when I shot my TV show in like 2019, right before the
Okay.
pandemic. And it was even crazy because I shot that in Lamert Park,
Oh wow.
and we were on set for like 3 days, and we did some amazing work. And because of that, which started it all, we did a show. We did a project right. Actually, we did a project right before the pandemic hit, It was called no, scratch it, that came after. But yeah, we did a whole lot of stuff. We've known each other since 2019, and I've been blessed to have worked with them. They have helped me out. I mean, down from, like I said, Monique, who's we started off as one of my writers on my writing team, ended up becoming my producer. To Kim, who is, I mean, a whiz when it comes to television and film. She knows every in and out of everything when it comes to writing and screenwriting. You have Aaliyah, who is my Ruth Carter, just like I told you, I'm a big Spike Lee fan, so I
Right,
have
right.
my own version of Ruth Carter, which I'm super happy about. Um, I talk about my wife. I talk about my boy Bray, who literally travels every time we're doing set or every time we're filming. He drives 2 hours at 5 in the morning just to come and be there on set. Then
Crazy.
you talk about Kurt, who is my DP for the last film. Me and him played basketball together with Baylor, ironically.
Okay.
And then I was able to work with Kennedy, who was a wardrobe assistant who worked with Aaliyah, who worked with me on several projects. And then one of the guys that I have on set is actually somebody I've known since he was like 2 years old.
Wow.
And it's just amazing to see him because between him and his brother, who actually is my barber,
Hmm.
I've coached them basketball. I've known them since they were two. I've helped raise them. It's just like, it's crazy to see. But I have an incredible team. And it's been a journey. It's been an amazing journey. You know, just my team and I are ambitious, right? And we learned a whole lot from working with each other.
Hmm.
And I learned a whole lot from working with them.
Wow. So I'm curious, what does right now? I know that the biggest thing that you were pushing for was getting funded, and you guys are fully funded for this film, correct?
We are fully funded. Those
Congratulations!
are two of the
Congratulations!
greatest things. Those are two of the words that people, as if any filmmaker, if you ask any filmmaker, they tell you what words will fuel your filmmaking desires. They will say fully funded.
Right, right. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is next for That's Life? What's the next step as far as the process for those of us who are very interested?
We are working on the post production aspect of it now.
Okay.
It's in the hands of my editor, who shout out to Adam, who's working tremendously hard on it. Is also we're also doing all this promotion and marketing. You know, we are working on partnering with organizations in the mental health and cancer and grief support groups, and really trying to lean on those partnerships because there's a lot of
Right.
people who would benefit from seeing a film like this. And then we're, gradually working on the next step. Like after this is done and we create the buzz and we get it out and people start seeing the film and stuff like that, then I'm already working on the extension of the story,
Okay.
and we're gonna extend it and turn it into a theater stage play, and eventually put it to the big screen.
Wow.
So short term goals. We're gonna premiere this film in October at my producer's film festival.
Okay.
We're gonna get it into festivals as well. We're gonna have Q and A's of all that stuff. We're gonna have the red carpet premiere and bring out everybody, of the investors and people, and then we'll be pushing this film out everywhere we can, getting as many people as we can to watch it.
Hmm.
Because I mean, it doesn't matter if you are a CEO billionaire, or it doesn't matter if you work a minimum wage job, doesn't matter if you live under a rock in Hawaii or if you live in a cave in Antarctica. It doesn't even matter because everyone has someone that they would love to talk to one more time.
Man, listen, it I think that part of the story should and will hit home for everybody because we all want those conversations, just that one last, and most of us don't get a chance to have
Hmm.
those final moments with that loved one. In fact, Bale and I have talked about, he had a similar situation with his grandmother. He was actually in the area somewhere in Inglewood near where she lived, and he was like, "Oh, I'll go check on her later," and later never came.
Hmm.
And so I think we all, particularly as we get older, and this is the part I always say, this is part of life that they don't tell us about, losing
That's
loved
life.
ones. And to your point, yeah, that's life.
Hmm.
But yeah, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to seeing this and doing whatever we can to support it. before I get you out of here, I got to ask you a question. And just as a filmmaker, how often, I know you've entered a different stage as far as That's Life is concerned, but how often are you writing? How often are you pitching the next idea? Because you don't strike me as somebody who's gonna sit, in one spot. Like you, yeah, I got the feeling that you're pushing the needle somewhere.
I'm pushing the needle in like 25 different directions. What's funny? When the pandemic came, right? This is the easiest way to tell you. When the pandemic came, I had about 5, 6 projects I was working on.
Mhm.
Just kind of developing it, creating it, doing whatever I can to kind of get it to where I felt like it needed to be. And then the pandemic hit, and then the world shut down.
Right.
And I didn't have no work. I didn't have no job. I didn't need to, right? I worked for LA County, LA City at the time, so we were disaster workers. So
Okay.
if they needed me to go into, I would have went. But I didn't have to, because I ended up moving an hour away. And
Wow.
when I was there, I sat in my room and just whatever came out, right?
Okay.
By the end of the pandemic in 2022, 2023, I wouldn't even say it's the end, but by the time it all started to slow down, everybody started to come outside.
Mhm.
I had about 40 plus projects
Wow.
with scripts, pitch decks, cover art, one sheet treatments, all of it, down logos. I did the graphics for it. I wrote the script. I revised it. I created everything, put it all together. I had that ready to go for about 40 different projects. And I want to say now I'm probably at almost 120.
Okay.
I probably have like 45, 50 in my phone alone.
Mhm.
I never stop writing.
Gotcha.
And my brain never stops moving, right? I can literally create a movie based off something I see. And for me, being raised in church, that was a big thing for me. And there was one film I have that's based on the book of Daniel
Okay.
chapter 2, of how Daniel was interpreting Nebuchadnezzar's dreams because no one in his camp could do it, right? And I turned that into an idea for a movie. I
Mhm.
turned my heritage being Panamanian and American into a movie. I turned me sitting at home watching TV into a movie. It's like when you look at the projects that I have, you will see pieces of me everywhere.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right? It goes to the old adage, like, write what you know.
Mhm. Yep.
I
Singleton said that
always
too.
write what I know, and what I know is family, moral dilemmas, and people going through their situations. And I learned that, and I created it, and I've expanded it. So I'm super excited. I mean, just based off that, I think, from Fight the Force to Validated Freedom to the 5 shorts that I was shooting in 2022 with my team, to That's Life, to the stuff that comes out next. I mean, I know my producer, we're working on a project called 12 Black People. And if you've ever seen the movie 12 Angry Men, you'll have an idea of what it's like.
Okay.
Um, I'm constantly coming out with ideas. And it's just, sometimes it bothers me because it's like, I don't have anything to write with. And then sometimes it's like, okay, hold on one second. Let me just write this down. I've
Mhm.
literally woken up out of my sleep
Right.
to write down something or type it in my phone, and then went right back to sleep.
Wow. That's
I've
a
had
creative
dreams.
right there. That's a creative right there.
I've had dreams of stuff, but I love it, and that's the reason why it's like, hey, you want it? What you want? What kind of idea you want? You want horror? I got it. You want thriller? I got it. You want action? I got it.
Got
You
it.
want animated? I got it. You want a reality show? I got it. What you want? I got it all. That's
No
just, I
doubt.
love creating, so I have so much.
Mhm.
But ultimately, I had to learn the hard way that it's not so much about having so much,
Mhm.
but it's about how much time and energy that you put into the one that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I was listening to an interview that Ryan Coogler had. After Sinners, I listened to almost every interview he had. But he was on a show, I think, with Carmelo Anthony.
Okay.
Or
Yeah, I
oh
saw
no,
that.
I think it was
7
Carmelo
p.m. in
Anthony, or
Brooklyn.
yeah, or I think it was actually Matt Barnes. Yeah,
Okay.
it was Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson.
Steven Jackson. Yeah.
And they were talking about which film is his best film. And he said he had the best answer in the world. He said, I don't I don't label all of these my best film, because the one that I was working on at the time, I was doing the best that I could to make that the best that it could be.
Yep.
And I looked at that and I'm like, yo, that's the best thing, right? It's you work on that one project and you make it work, which is the reason why I worked on That's Life for over a year. I didn't want to rush that process.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that the moment it was ready, it was going to be good. And it's good. Right? It's really good, down to the intentional parts of the color of the outfits, to the names of the characters. Like, I named the characters after my grandparents.
Wow.
I went all the way down the line, right? And I even paid homage to some people that have been crucial in my life and
Mm-hmm.
passed away. And I was able to shine a light on a lot of people that cared and supported me in a way until they were no longer here. And I knew that that moment was beneficial for me, because it's like, I took my time. I got it done. It looks good. It sounds good. It's intentional. And it's going to be the start. I told my team, I said, this film is going to open the door to somewhere. I don't know what, I don't know what's on the other side of it, but it's going to open the door. And I love the fact that everyone turned this project into theirs too.
That's
And I
important.
felt happy about that, because it was no longer just my story. It was so many people's stories. So I loved it.
True indeed. True indeed. And last question before I get you out of here, man. I gotta ask Jason, because I have a 19-year-old son who is an aspiring filmmaker. He just finished his first year in college, and he made
Congratulations to him.
yeah, I'll just be ready when he get off the payroll. But but he finished his first year, man, and he did a short film when he was in high school, and I remember watching it. It was only like a 5-minute film, and it's something that he did with some high school buddies and stuff, and I was like blown away, because I knew he had it. I didn't know he had that. But I was, of course, fatherly pride and all that stuff kicks in. But the thing that I want to ask on his behalf, because he's going to have to see this, podcast, as well as I've given him, the Singleton book and told him to read it or get the audio book or whatever, like, because I want him to get different ideas, because, social media can pull you in different ways, and I want his creativity to stay where it is right now.
Yeah.
But what would you tell a young, aspiring, filmmaker, maybe like him or others that may see this? What advice would you give them to take that next step into their dreams?
I would simply just say, be creative, tell your story. No matter how many times that story has been told, no one has told it the way you can, because you have your own perspective, right? So I can easily just say, yeah, I have a story, a romantic comedy, and someone else has a romantic comedy, and we can have the same idea, but my perspective is going to be different, which makes the story different.
Right.
So my thing is, lean into your authenticity and don't sell it. Don't sell your authenticity, because a lot of people in Hollywood want to buy your authenticity. Hey, that's a heck of a project. Let me bring it over here. We can help you produce that. And then you start producing it and you're like looking at it like, this ain't my story no more.
Right.
Don't sell your authenticity, right? And the biggest thing I can say is, even down to like what I've been able to experience, it is really just about being able to understand that each thing you do, give it everything you got. Because no one else is going to feel as passionate about what you're doing more than you. And I had to learn the hard way that every time that you grow or learn something, most of the time is not for you to keep. It's for you to give that information to someone else.
Mm.
Um, I remember I came up with this phrase because I was going through a whole lot of stuff. And I said, when you start to question yourself, to someone else, you're the answer.
Wow.
And I had to realize that people's blessings are tied to you doing what you're supposed to do. If I didn't do what I did the way I did it, my team would not be working with me. And then the blessings they have because of the role and the decision that they made would not have been in place because I didn't do what I needed to do. So sometimes it's just about understanding that this is a collaborative world. And the last thing I'll say is there is enough, and I'm going to say this 3 times, there is enough room for everybody.
Yes.
There is enough room for everybody. There is enough room for everybody. Do not let Hollywood convince you that there is not room enough for everybody. There's room for everybody. Literally. You don't need to compete with nobody. You don't need to compete with nobody. Art is not meant to be competitive. It's meant to be collaborative.
There you go.
You have to find your tribe, your people, your group, and just learn all you can from those people. Because eventually there are going to be people who are going to come to you asking you about information that you have. And I've learned that myself.
Man, that's a bar. Jason Keith Taylor, man, thanks for coming on, man. I definitely appreciate it. Before you leave, man, tell folks where they can find you. Obviously, the film will be out soon, hopefully for all of us to consume. You are
Yes,
more
indeed.
than welcome to come back on the podcast and talk about it and promote it again. But yeah, tell folks where they can find you and all of what you're doing right now.
Yeah, you can find me on social media. Well, first off, you can Google me. Jason Keith Taylor.
Full name.
You can Google me up. Full name. You can Google me. That'll give you everything. But as far as social media on Twitter, I still call it Twitter. I ain't calling it no X.
Same.
Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Acknowledge It, ACT Knowledge IT. You can go on if you're looking for the film itself, you can look up Acknowledge Productions. You can look up That's Life Film Project. But that's where I'm at. And I'm on TikTok. Don't know why, but I am. So, that's that's another thing. Shout out to Kim because my writer, she was like, "Yo, you need to get on there." I was like,
You
"Okay."
gotta be. Yeah, everybody's
Yeah.
there. You gotta be there.
Yeah. But other than that, that's where you can find me. You can Google me, like I said, Jason Keith Taylor. Super happy about it. But man, That's Life is gonna be a heck of a film. Heck of a film. Shout out to my cast,
Shout
Terry,
out.
Kia, Paul, Maria. Shout out to my crew. Shout out to my producer, Monique. Like she is a big component. Is the reason why we got fully funded. So when you have people on your team that are ride for you, you'll find a whole lot of success.
Facts.
A whole lot of success. A whole lot of success, right? So that. But I have one last thing to say.
Go ahead. Floor is
And
yours.
I'm gonna say it, and I'll say it it's on my shirt. But it's about time somebody gave us some good, you know what? Because that's what it's about, right? It's about us having good stuff. We talked about movies that are greenlit. We didn't know how it got greenlit, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a message to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Look
we
what
need
happened when you gave us a chance. Ryan Coogler had one of the highest grossing films of all time. Look at what Is God Is did. Look what I Love Boosters did. Look at what One of Them Days did. Look at what happened when you gave us an opportunity. and we didn't have to sell our authenticity.
Mm-mm. You know, we'll always make more with less.
My God, please. That's how many times just hooping, right? How many times have you pulled out the shopping cart, lifted the thing up, and shot in there? We didn't need no basket. We
No.
don't need no rim.
No.
We used a crate that cut out at the bottom.
That was it.
Double rim, right? We just like how you said, we do a lot with less. I think people soon will realize if they truly gave some people an opportunity. I mean, think about Backrooms, think about Obsession, and those filmmakers who came from YouTube, and they gave an opportunity to them.
Yep.
It was an amazing experience, right? A lot of people really just need opportunities, right? You'll
That's
never
it.
know what someone can do until you give them an opportunity. The way Hollywood is acting right now, where they say, hey, you need to build an audience. If I build an audience, I don't need y'all.
Thanks.
If I can build the audience, I don't need you. You want me to build an audience so you can recruit? No, I'm sorry. I don't need Toy Story 25 in about 10 years. I don't need
I didn't
Despicable
realize they
Me
got the
10.
Toy Story 5.
We don't need that, right? Those movies were great for the time that they came out with, right? Those were movies that were ingrained in our soul. We are still talking about Kill Bill. We're still talking about John Wick. We're still talking about Crooklyn. We're still talking about Boys in the Hood, Love and Basketball. We're still talking about all these movies, Baby Boy, Menace to Society, Juice, right?
All of them.
Even When Harry Met Sally. Look at all these movies, The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles. I can go on and on and on and on and on, all these movies, right? We're still talking about these movies because they were good. But they had the opportunity to spread their wings. And the last thing I'll say is to everybody out there, as to the advice, if you have a story, don't allow anyone to tell you that you can't tell it. Don't allow anyone to tell you that you can't tell it. You got a phone? Use it. You got a GoPro? Use it. You got a DJI? Use it. You got a camera? Use it. Do whatever you can do, tell stories, because people need stories. People need stories. We all need stories. And the craziest part about this is it's more relatable than you think. You aren't the only one that went through that story.
Facts. Big facts.
My story is a key. Everybody has someone they would want to talk to again. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what race, ethnicity, gender, it doesn't matter. If you have a story that you want to tell that story. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot tell that story. Tell that story. Because at the end of the day, the only person that you are not going to be able to forgive is yourself.
Facts. Big facts. Big facts. Jason Keith Taylor, my brother, I appreciate you for coming through. Again, you're more than welcome to come back and talk about this movie once it reaches the masses, or anything else in between, man. We were talking a little basketball before you came on. We can have you come back on, and we can talk a little bit about some hoops and stuff, man.
We can definitely talk about it.
Yeah,
especially the move that everybody is not gonna like. I'm telling you right now, Giannis gonna end up in Miami.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say L.A.
Nah. As much as I lived in LA my whole life, but my favorite basketball player is Dwayne Wade.
Really? Wow. Yeah, we definitely got to talk. Okay, so quick. LA Laker question. I threw this to Baylor one time. Greatest all-time Laker, Magic or Kobe?
That's a very interesting story. That's a very interesting choice.
Y'all see the Filmmaker come out right now?
They're great in their own right because they're from two different eras. Then you have to go to who did more for the organization, right? Magic did a lot for organization.
Yes.
But I feel like Kobe did more for the organization
Fair.
than Magic did. Only because of who he was and how he competed. no one's talking about Magic Johnson in a way that they're talking about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's reach has gotten past basketball.
Yeah.
The Mamba mentality is no longer just for basketball. It's for life. The Mamba mentality, that's a lifestyle. That's
Okay.
a lifestyle. A lifestyle. People who may not know and ever watched the game Kobe played in
Right.
know what the Mamba mentality is.
Of course.
Which, how many people
you
really
get an
know about
argument from me.
Showtime?
Oh, well,
How many
I mean,
people really know about Showtime?
now listen, you talking to somebody who's, like I said, I'm 53 at the time of this recording. So Showtime is what I knew, but
Look, I know about them battles him and Bird had.
man, legendary. And they really said they're not lying when they said that they saved the NBA. They totally did
Yeah.
save the NBA, because I remember
They did.
the NBA, I remember games being on tape delay. I mean, and I'm talking about NBA
Yeah.
finals, that's unheard of. And they did a lot. But Kobe, particularly given the fact that Kobe's no longer here, which is still mind-boggling for me to even
Yeah.
wrap my head around. He did a lot, but I always like to ask, my B-ball fans, but you come back on, we'll definitely talk some D Wade. I'm interested.
Anytime.
Oh, for
Anytime.
sure. Hey, listen, I'll take you up on that, man.
Yeah, anytime. I could talk about D Wade forever and a day, man.
Man,
I
listen,
actually met him. I met him, so I was happy about that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I've always heard good things, man. He's a good guy, and
Really good guy.
me and Baylor, we talk and text every day. So a lot of our conversations are hoop conversations. He, as a Laker fan, he ain't really happy right now, but I told him, I said, get over it, man. I mean, you could be like me and be a Hawks fan and be stuck with with what we got. So it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, I know, y'all. I know you didn't like the Miami Heat, because Miami, you never got past Miami.
Nah.
The Atlanta Hawks never got past Miami.
And here's the wild thing, and I don't know how this happened, but my middle son Cameron, who's 23, he's a Heat fan. He's a diehard Heat fan. So I told him
he's in the right space.
I told him I'm gonna kick him out the house. We went to a game. What was it, last year? The Heat came here, and I took him to a game, and we won at we won by 3. At the end of the game, and I talked so much shit, it was ridiculous. And so but we go back and forth, but it's all love. But like I said, that's spirit of competition in this house, man. But I'm not gonna talk you to death. Jason Keith Taylor, man, a pleasure again for coming through.
Thank you.
More than welcome to come back through. I'm always going to support filmmakers, always going to support Black filmmakers as well. It's needed. It is needed. It's needed. And for all of you listening and watching, thanks again for tapping into the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Cheers.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the 12 Kyle podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and share this podcast with a friend who needs the 12 Kyle podcast in their life. Every listen, every download, and every share helps us grow. Thanks for being a part of the 12 Kyle podcast community. We appreciate your support. We will catch you next time. 5,000.